What's going on? It's Kevin Kenny. We're coming to you live from the corner of 4th and Broadway here in New York City. And our guest today is a Grammy-nominated superstar who's been named by DJ Mag as the #1 DJ on 5 different occasions. Please, let's give a very warm build welcome to Armin van Buuren. All right, now Armin is one of the top DJs in the world. If you want a taste of what it's like to be Armin, check out this video really quick. The man himself, Armin van Buuren.
What's up?
How accurate is that to like what your life feels like?
It's pretty accurate. Yeah. It's a dream job for sure. I'm a very lucky guy.
Yeah. You've actually talked about that in past interviews of like how lucky you feel you are throughout your career. Are there a couple of like, make or break moments you think back throughout the journey of like, wow, I was really lucky, I don't know, to score that or for that to happen to me? What comes to mind?
Well, the first thing that springs to mind is my 20 years concert that I did in the Amsterdam Arena, which is the soccer stadium in where Ajax plays.
Yeah.
It was 2 nights, sold out, 35,000 people. Well, why that was so special is because every artist I ever worked with was there. All my family was there. For the first time, my fans flew from all over the world to Amsterdam to witness that concert. Yeah, it was still a memorable performance because everything came together that I ever worked for in my entire career. So, yeah, it was super cool.
That is so cool. Some of the footage there, I think, are taken from your vlogs. You've gotten really into vlogging. I think you put out 1 a week now.
I had to get used to the vlogging thing. People have seen me grow over it,
Right.
I do vlog myself because I feel it's more personal that way. Mm-hmm. And I think if people really want to see, how I wake up in the morning or how I tie my shoes before going to a gig, welcome to 2019. Everything is social media. And I don't mind giving people a little of an insight into my life on tour and in the studio and stuff.
Have you taken a while to take to it though? Because I think an artist like you, whose success predates really the advent of social media, I'm always fascinated to ask, like, how did you take to it?
Well, to be honest, I don't find it that interesting to be sitting in a car, drive to the airport, but apparently a lot of my fans do. So, I had to get used to that, and I had a team to advise me, say, like, that's what you got to show. People like to see you eat a Caesar salad in your hotel room by yourself. I'm like, okay, well, I'll show it to them. It's not a secret, but I think it's also fun because, you know what, my life goes so fast and I'm such a lucky guy to literally fly all over the world and to see all these great places, but you forget, and now having all these vlogs is also for me, it's sort of a personal diary.
Yeah.
Because, I wake up in the strangest of places and I think like, wow, I played in Cancun last night. Oh, it's great. And then I open my curtains and then there's the most beautiful sun out there on the beach. And yeah, it's a pretty awesome life, to be honest.
Yeah, it's one of those things that feels silly in the moment, and we might feel this too, just posting our own social media. But then you think back to like life moments before social media. You're like, wow, I wish I had video of that birthday or that
it's true,
special moment or whatever. I listed a couple of your accomplishments really quick at the top. The Grammy nominations, 5-time #1 DJ in the world. I think it's 17 consecutive times you've been top 5 on the DJ Mag list. To you, though, personally, what has been the proudest moment of your career?
Of my career? Well, there's songs that have meant more for my career than others. All songs are my babies. And obviously, This Is What It Feels Like was a very scary moment because it's a pop song, basically, with a dance background. And I was very scared to sort of alienate my fans because, I come from a trance world, and I love the trance world, and I want to embrace that. But I felt that, in order to grow as an artist, I needed to sort of veer out of my comfort zone a little bit, and I was very scared to do so. So when the song premiered, obviously there were some fans that were upset that it was a song like this. And then a few years later, I got a Grammy nomination for it and a golden record in the US. And it was kind of like, whoa, this is a whole new level. So I guess that's my biggest achievement musically, that song. But, from a DJ point of view, I think A State of Trance is my highlight because it's a radio show I've been doing for 18 years. Wow. And it's become the hub of everything that I do. So whether it's a new release of myself, a new release on my label, or a release from a competition or befriended DJ, I use The State of Trance as my way to communicate with the fans. And I've been doing that since 2001. In the last 2 years, I've also been doing it online. So every week you can check me out on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, or one of the 100 FM stations that broadcast the show. So it's great to support the community, support trance music in that way. And I've been doing it for 18 years, and it's so great to see. I don't know many other music genres that have so much love. I'm not sure if the people here can feel it in the room, but if people have been listening to a State of Trance episode, you can feel the community and the love for the trance music that's been out there for a long, long time. And I feel it as a big responsibility to keep supporting this music because, let's face it, trance music is not the most popular EDM sound out there. But it is the most passionate, and it is the community feeling that I have, the love that you see from the fans all over the world. If there's a good track coming on, you see really people being moved by this music, and this is wonderful. It's wonderful to be a small part of that.
What initially moved you to the music when you were first getting involved with trance?
I guess my father was a big influence. He used to listen to like the early electronic music. It all started with Switched on Bach by Walter Carlos, and then, guys like Jean-Michel Jarre, Vangelis, Kitaro, Klaus Schulze, all those, we didn't call it trance back then, but it was all, based around electronic music, and it was based around melodies. And it was, it has a relationship with classical music. It's, trance music, what sets trance music apart from other genres is the melody, obviously. With techno, the beat is probably more apparent. With house music, it's maybe the groove. But with trance, it's always the melody, and the melody only. And then, of course, occasionally you have the vocal to change it up a little bit. But, people can be really moved by melodies. And I'm fascinated about what melodies do to people. People start crying when they hear a melody and that is a fascination. Why does one melody make a person cry and the other doesn't? That's my fascination.
You talked about your dad there briefly, kind of getting you into music. He wasn't too hot on EDM though at the start. This is why you have a law degree, right?
I had to deal with my parents. I mean, they weren't the biggest fans of dance music. They still aren't, even though they were super proud and they came to my concerts and all that. But I had to deal with my parents, and they said, well, we'll let you do the dance music thing as long as you finish your law degree. And that was kind of a deal I had with my parents. And to be honest, I didn't like my first 2 years in university at all. I was a bit lost, looking for who I am. I felt pretty lost after graduating from high school. And then I found my home in a really, 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 really small bar in Leiden in the Netherlands, which is in my student town. And that's where I started to DJ. And actually, that was my education for my profession later because, there was a capacity of maybe 50, 60 people. And trust me, if there's 10,000 people in front of you that want to dance, that's a lot easier than if you have 50 drunk students in front of you who do not care about the music at all. So that's how you learn how to read a crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
So that was a really inspirational time for me. And looking back at it, probably one of the most important times in my life when I found myself. I wasn't made for the student life, the ridiculous drinking nights, and I was just in the music. I was completely in love with the music, and I never had the arrogance of thinking that I would be successful as a DJ because I thought, it's not a protected profession. You don't have to do a busy exam for it. Why would I, this small law school student from Leiden, get any success with dance music? Well, here you go.
Well, dad's skepticism, or maybe the family's skepticism, it parallels with mainstream skepticism of electronic music, because I think for a while there, it was thought of as this like passing fad. That's not real music. Now, of course, it's the bedrock of pop music, country, and now has tons of electronic influences. Do you remember a moment in your career where you looked around, you're like, oh, wow, this was the turning point where the mainstream really started to take EDM or trance, whatever you want to label it, seriously?
Well, if we quickly look back, if I may, to the 80s. I mean, the 70s and the 80s were the years of pop music, right? Mm-hmm. The beautiful songs. I remember, Madonna, Duran Duran, all those beautiful structured songs. And I think dance music was sort of an anti-movement because it went back to the beat. It went back to the, to your gut feeling. And I love dance music. So when I was looking for an identity in my, around 13, 14 years old, I had to find something, that my parents didn't like, because then it would be non-cool. And, and my friends loved. So all my friends in school, they were buying vinyl. We were making mixtapes for each other. And the fact that my parents didn't like it was actually motivation because, my parents don't like it. So it must mean it's cool, And now, actually, we're back to square one because now we started to introduce the songs back into dance music. So, but to answer your question, I think 2008 was a very important year in dance music. That's when daytime radio in the US started picking up on what we now call EDM. It's strange how that is a dirty word in some way, because electronic dance music and EDM, they seem to have two different meanings. I don't know why, but anyway, it opened a lot of doors, and of course the criticism was also there. But I see it as a positive thing that there was a lot more attention for dance music. So since 2008, you had these electronically produced tracks that all of a sudden were played at American daytime radio. And this was a revolution because ever since then, you saw festivals like Ultra Music, EDC, Tomorrowland and stuff. They were upping their game. You know, the LED screens got bigger. There were more fireworks. The DJs started playing more energetic sets, and that's how, you know, the art of DJing really became something on those main stages.
Speaking of one of those main stages, you're doing Ultra this weekend.
Yes.
And I understand some people are going to Ultra here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we got some Ultra fans. Right on. How is this, you know, as a music fan, but I would say an outsider to the EDM world, I know Ultra is like the Super Bowl, at least in my eyes. What makes it that?
Well, it's if you look at it just on the calendar, it is the start of the New Year's. If the dance music calendar would have a New Year's, it's probably around Ultra or Miami Music Week, because that's when a lot of the DJs come out of their caves, their black holes, when they've been locked in for months to create new music. That's when you present your music for the rest of the year. I wouldn't say it's the only important moment of the year. There's a couple of other festivals that, you know, are equally important, like Tomorrowland and EDC and many more. But Ultra is the first one, really, to sort of set the tone for the rest of the year. And there's a lot of media attention for it. You know, you have to bring your A game. You have to bring your new surprises, and, you know, you have to try to rock the crowd. It's always exciting.
Do you have any surprises up
Absolutely.
your sleeve? Yeah? Like none I'm talking about right now, though. You talked about jokingly, you know, these DJs, they come out of their cave, they've been creating all winter maybe. You were saying to me in the back, you know, becoming a father and becoming a parent has actually changed the time of day that you find yourself making music. You used to start maybe later in the day, now you're doing it in the morning. Do you find different ideas creatively coming to you, whether or not you're making music at 10 a.m. versus 10 p.m.?
No, not necessarily, no. But I've changed from that stereotypical DJ, you know, coming out at 3 in the afternoon in bed, and then, you know, taking till 6 p.m. before you go into the studio. And now that I'm a father, I sort of had to change my routine because I bring my own kids to school when I'm in the Netherlands. So I have to feed them, I have to bathe them, I have to clothe them, and then together with my wife, we take them to school. And then I come home and it's 8:45 in the morning, and then I'm up, you know?
Yeah.
Let's go make some music, right? So I don't have time to muck around anymore. And it's really funny to see that I've never been so productive. And I guess it's also because I got my life in order more. I think in a way, having a family, being married, and having 2 children made me more structured.
Yeah.
So I'm more organized. And I used to be able to just sit in the studio and go over social media and just stare at a screen like that for hours. And now I just go in the studio, and at 10 o'clock, I might have an idea already standing there. And I don't really... I guess also with this age, you get a little bit more confidence, which is nice. You know, if you grow a little bit older, you get, you know, a little bit of the experience. And I'm also less afraid of trying new things. You know, like I touched on before, I take criticism to heart, and trust me, I read everything. And, you know, the social media world can be pretty harsh, even though in general the comments are really positive. But, you know, out of the 10 negative comments, and there may be 100 positive comments, that you know, you're always a little bit insecure. I think every artist has the same.
Yeah. You talked about being nervous when you were doing that pop crossover hit, you know, however many years ago now. What's something you're more confident now, you've said? Where do you want to explore in the world of music right now? Like, where's something you have your eye on?
Anything that excites me. I found out that what I love is one day I might be doing a really dark underground track, techno-inspired, you know, maybe not even melodic, you know, just really dark. And then the next day I might be doing something really poppy and really commercial. I feed off of that. I don't want to be going into studio thinking like, oh, you know, I'm going to be staring at the same kick drum, you know, the same bass line and the same structure again. I need what really excites me is just to make something that I've never created before. As proud as I am of my past successes, I can't repeat myself because it bores me.
Yeah.
And another thing that I've learned recently is how little I know as a producer, because being in the industry for 20 years, like you said, having a Grammy nomination doesn't guarantee you anything. Every track you make, you start from scratch. You start with an empty screen, and I don't use the same kick drum twice. I want to recreate everything. So I throw everything away and I start from scratch, and that's exciting. And I've learned to follow my heart because you know what? When I'm in the studio, the fans aren't there. I just have to start. And I'm not saying everything that I do is brilliant or good. I'm just following my gut. And it means every track learns you something new, especially with collaborations. Recently, I've been working with a lot of young talent, a lot of new guys who approach the same game from a completely different angle. And it's inspiring, man. That's what I get excited about.
What made you want to work with Bonnie?
Bonnie McKee is somebody I really admire. She worked with, she wrote Roar with Katy Perry and a bunch of
all
others.
the Katy Perry hits.
Yeah.
Basically, Wide Awake, Roar.
It's phenomenal. You have to understand, I mean, being a music fan myself, first and foremost, I'm a fan, right?
Yeah.
I love music. I live and breathe music. I have music on the whole day, and people ask me what I listen to. I listen to everything that you guys are listening to, everything, because I love what music does to people. So sitting in a room with a talent like Bonnie McKee, is watching a song grow together. Obviously, we wrote the song together, but seeing her think and the way she works completely different than other artists that I work with. I'm just learning, and being part of that creation actually gives me more satisfaction than the success that I get with. Of course, a platinum record is amazing, and it says that people like what you do, but that has become a little bit less important than the satisfaction that I get of being in the studio, being creative, and watching that whole process, which is sometimes not easy because, let's face it, Bonnie is brilliant, but she's also a critic.
Yeah.
So I was working on the song. We wrote the song in LA. I went back home to the Netherlands. I produced it in my studio, and then I sent her a first version. And we were super excited about the song. Like, wow, what an amazing track. And then she comes back, can you fix this? This is too long. Can you make that? And then you guys don't see that, but that's months and months of going back, and every little tweak in her voice you have to fix, and this has to be half a dB. She hears everything, by the way, and that's amazing. Like, I've lowered some of her voice half a dB. And she's like, did you lower my voice a little bit there? I'm like, how could she hear that? And that's when you work with a real talent, somebody who really knows what they're talking about. And that's the great thing about being in this position in the music industry.
We're going to kick it to your fans on Twitter in just a second, but I want to talk to you about this residency in Vegas that's like it's like the hottest club in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's my third residency in a new club. It's called Chaos. It's a new club that they're opening. I haven't even seen it. I've only seen the drawings, and it looks spectacular. In the Palms Casino. I think it's opening next week.
Okay.
My first date will be half of May. I think it's May 16th, 17th. Nice. It's a day club and a nightclub, and it looks phenomenal. I mean, I'm really, really excited, and I'm glad that something like this is happening to Vegas because, it felt like it needed something to shake it up a little bit again.
Definitely. And speaking of shaking things up, we talked about A State of Trance, the radio show, before. It's really transcended just the radio show. It's a brand. It's a festival now. And they're saying that the festival you're throwing out in the Bay Area this summer might be or is the biggest trance event in U.S. history. Can you talk about the festival?
Well, I started the radio show June 2001, and every week doing the radio show, and it became a tradition of celebrating the round numbers of radio shows with the fans. So I remember the first one we threw with episode 100 was on the beach in the Netherlands, and it was kind of like a Woodstock thing happening. There were so many people there.
Crazy.
So then 250 was bigger, 350, and then now we're at 900. So recently, a couple of weeks ago, I celebrated episode 900 in Utrecht in the Netherlands. And we had 35,000 people coming out, completely sold out, 5 different areas. And what's so great about trance music now is, even within trance, you have all these different subgenres. So, and I get to do the same thing after 7 years. We're back in the Bay Area, in the Oakland Coliseum on June 29th. I'm super excited about that. That's, we hope to sell 25,000 tickets. Let's fingers crossed for that.
Yeah.
But obviously, people have seen the live stream from Utrecht. There's a big expectation. I know that. There's pressure on. So we're going to have an epic lineup for that event. And I really hope that we can bring some of the energy that we had in Utrecht, because that was one of my favorite events, really.
Absolutely. All right, now let's get to Twitter. This comes from @InDadShoes. I swear you guys pick the craziest names. Would you ever move to a different country?
Actually, we considered that a lot. The logical choice would be to move to LA because all the writers are there. But I figured, my kids are really comfortable in school right now. My parents live close by. They're a little older now. They're not as mobile anymore. So all my friends live there. And the good thing is I live really close to the airport. And Amsterdam Schiphol Airport is a really easy airport to go anywhere in the world. You can fly to most cities direct. So, but we talked about moving to LA a lot, but now I just make an effort to go to LA to write music at least 1 month a year. Because, you know, and then the rest of the time I spend in my own studio finishing what I wrote in LA. But, you know, if I would have to move, it would probably be there, yeah.
Is it In Dad Shoes? Is that like a reference to anything?
I have no idea.
No idea. All right. Had to ask. Let's get to the first studio audience question. It's going to come from right behind me.
Hi, Armin.
Hey, what's up?
Hi. I really want, because you have a lot of amazing collaboration with other DJs, and I wanted to ask you, like, who's the next, but you have answered that. You're working with some young talents right now. So if you got to choose, who is the pop singer that you want to work with the most?
Pop singer. Well, you know, for me, I can easily drop a list of names, but at the end of the day, you can work with the biggest star in the world, but you know, if the song is not good, it won't work. So, but you know, if you really want to know, I mean, a collaboration with Chris Martin, I don't know if he's watching, that would be amazing.
Oh.
Gary from Snow Patrol would be super cool. But you know, honestly, people always say like, oh, you know, I'm probably not good enough for you to work with you. And I'm like, it's not about the person or the singer or the stature. I mean, obviously, if you have a such and such featuring Beyonce, yeah, that will raise some attention. But I always say, like, I mean, Trevor Guthrie wasn't really a big name. Well, he was part of Soul Decision, but nobody really heard the name Trevor Guthrie until we came up with This Is What It Feels Like. He wasn't a known name. But at the end of the day, I think, for me, what's always more important than the name is the song.
Okay. Can't wait to see you on Ultra on Saturday.
Can't wait. See you.
Who do you want to see him collab with?
Martin Garrix.
Yeah, why not?
Is he a pop singer? All right, let's get to the second studio audience question. It'll come from right over somebody. No, wait, I think it's over here. Sorry.
What's up, Armin?
Hey, how you
Who
going?
is this?
My question is, in 2017 and 2018, Psytrance really blew up, and you were at the head of that with Vini Vici. Awesome songs. It's 2019. You're always finding something new. What do you think is the next big thing in trance, if you could tell us?
Well, I was really surprised about the turnout for the progressive area. A new experiment that I started with John 00 Fleming in the Utrecht thing. And what really excited me about Utrecht, you know, other than selling it out, was the fact that we looked at the demographic and the ticket sellers. The majority was between 18 and 24. So it tells you that there is a massive young crowd, especially interested in the progressive side of things. So I think progressive might be the next big thing, you know, big comeback of that. You know, a lot of people call it melodic techno now, but because they're just afraid to call it trance. I don't know. But for me, that is, you know, the old school trance. When I started listening to trance, when it wasn't even called trance, that's what I was listening to. So if I'd have to take a wild guess, then I guess, you know, we just start calling melodic techno trance again, and then we're there. I know I'm going to raise some debate by saying this, but I feel it's true, you know. It's just, you know, for some reason, you know, Oxia Domino is considered a big techno track. For me, it's trance, but again, it's personal.
Great question. We're unfortunately out of time, they're telling me, Armin, but thank you so much for stopping by. I guess in the more immediate future, we can look forward to Ultra this weekend, and
Super
then
excited.
the Vegas residency at the end of May, and anything else? I guess
Such a big diary coming
I know.
up.
I'm asking like one of the busiest guys in the world, like list the schedule for me.
Tomorrowland, you know, the Bay Area thing. That's one thing that I'm absolutely looking forward to. A big gig in Wembley in London.
He says modestly.
No, it's exciting, man. Really, it's you know, seeing it grow from what it was to now. I mean, doing this radio show when I had an idea that nobody was listening, and now there's so many people.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. And I just hope that people feel the message and the love for trance music, because it's still, you know, it's still the same radio show as it was when I did episode 1.
Nice, guys. One more time for Armin van Buuren.
Thank you.